Hi, this is Ben from boursedata, and in this video I'll be going through more detail looking at the benefits of using conditional orders in the bourse. Conditional orders cover a few areas, from your stop losses and even to your order creation. I'll repeat several times in this video, setting up conditional orders, like all orders, is a process. You just need to follow the steps. I'll go into more detail about that when I'm actually creating some orders. So this tool is about helping you enter a trade and projecting your position once you are there. So first things first, let's talk about triggers and how you can use them to create your orders. So now we're going to log into your bourse. I'm just going to log in there. Okay, I'll just use my default window. That's okay. All right. So I've logged into my bourse. So let's go and have a look where the conditional orders are actually located within the bourse. So you're going to look basically for two areas. So if we go to trading in the top left corner, you'll see conditional orders. Now this is for the orders you've already created. So it's pretty important that you probably have a tab here. So I'll just call this conditional. Okay. This is where I'm going to have all my information about my conditional orders. It doesn't hurt to have that as part of like your trading tab here, so you can see all your positions. So it'd be simple as just going in here. I'll just in your orders, I'll just and pop that over there, because these are conditional orders that haven't triggered yet. So it's not as important as your actual existing orders in the market right now, but it is important to have them there. So I'll just jump back here. Okay, now conditional orders can be created two ways. You can either click it by clicking on the create button down here in the conditional orders window, or going to trading and then going to new conditional order. So I'm going to spend a bit of time going through the conditional order pad, and like I said earlier, it's a process. Once you follow these steps, the conditional orders will work the way you'd like them to work. So first things first, we're just going to go to our security here, and I'll just go say CBA. Okay, and that's jumped across. I'll just drag that to your middle. So I think you're all very familiar with adding codes to the security there, so I won't spend any more time on there. Now we've got basically two key areas within the conditional orders for your triggers. So you got your fixed price and you got your trailing price. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to spend a bit of time on the fixed price, then I'll go through the trailing price with you. Okay. So obviously I've ticked that little radio button there next to fixed price, so that's selected that as the path we're going down. Now we've got our type. So how do we want it to, off what price point do we want it to go off? So I want it to go off the last price. So I can always go off the best bid, best ask, or the mid price. Okay. Now that refers to basically your market depth. So if we bring up a market here, I'll go to depth, and I'll just close that. Okay. So you got your best bid here, that price there, $2.31, and got your best ask, $1.97, and basically the mid price. What's the mid price between that and obviously because the market's just opened? What's the mid price? So it's about 213 and a half essentially. Okay. Or we go off the last price. So what's the last price there? 213 and a half, 213. It's jumping around because the market's open. Okay, so if we go back to our new conditional orders here, and we go to, I'll go back to AMP, because that's what I have my depth open on. So we're just going to go after the last price. I'm keeping the last price because it's nice and simple. So now if we look at comparison, so as our trigger, what are we comparing to? So our last price here is say 213. Okay, if I'm looking in here, do I want my trigger price to be GTE, which is greater than, so greater than $2.13, or do I want it to be LTE, less than $2.13? So obviously, if you're looking for greater than, you're basically looking for it doing a run up, and if you're looking LTE, you're looking for it to do a run down, so it's underneath that price. So let's do greater than. Okay, because I'm going to set a fixed price, I can actually put the price in here. So let's just do it at, say, $2.50. Okay, so it's well and truly out of the market. Okay, so now we can see in the status here, we can see the market's open, obviously, because it's just a bit past 10 o'clock. We can see our last price, which is updating. And like when we were looking here before, you can see your best bid and your best ask over here updating as well. Okay, so that is basically a fixed price trigger. Okay, now if we go through the rest of it, we go into, we'll basically create the order. So the trigger is when it's hitting greater than $2.50 or 250 cents, I want it to create an order. Okay, so I want it to do a buy order to buy some AMP. Okay, obviously it's defaulting to the ASX market, and we're going to buy 1,000 units. And obviously we're doing it as a limit order. It's right here because I'm doing it at my fixed price. If you wanted to just basically fill the order, you can do it to market to limit or best limit. Okay, but I'm just going to keep it nice and simple because I want it to execute on my $2.51. So it hits $2.50 and it places an order into the market at $2.51. Now, if I'm being unsure about this, I can either change it from good till cancel, which will last about 3 months in the market, or I can just do it for the day, or I could do it for a date, or immediate, or cancel, or fill and kill. So I'm going to just leave it good for day, because if it doesn't get that filled, if it doesn't get filled and the next day basically the price jumps up, cool, but I don't think the order is going to get filled, so I'll just leave it active for that day only. Okay, I'm not going to bother with the minimum execution quantity. So basically, you can say, okay, of the 1,000 shares they want to buy, the minimum amount that has to buy can be 100 or 500. I'm just going to keep it really nice and simple in this instance. Okay, and basically then I can submit it. Okay, so now if we go straight over here to our conditional orders, okay, we can see a bit more information on it. I'm just going to make this full screen so you can see as much as possible. So we've got our status here. So it's currently active, and I'm going to go through a bit more in that later on, but we can see our start and stop time here is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So the order, the trigger on the conditional order is between that period, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Obviously, in the next instance, I'm going to show you how you can modify that, and we'll look at the differences there. We've got our security, AMP. So we've got in here, it's a fixed order, so fixed price, that the last price is greater than or equal to $2.50. Okay, now we've got an expiry of 3 months from now. Okay, we've got our start and stop times between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If it hits that price, then it triggers the creation of the order. Obviously, it's in the morning on the 9th when I'm creating this. I haven't modified it yet, and I'll show you how to amend your order a little bit later on. Okay, the account I'm using is just my test account here, and it's obviously got the account name as well. And I'll just hide the account name so we can see a bit more information about the order, and I'll close that. So now we can actually see a little bit more about the order information. So I want to buy AMP, 1,000 of them at $2.51, and the order validity is good for day. Okay, So that's just the fixed priced order. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to create a trailing stop loss in here, or it doesn't have to be a trailing stop loss. It's more basically a trailing order. So what I'm going to do is just go to create at the bottom here, and I click on create. Now in this instance, I'll just go CBA. Okay. So basically what we could do is set up a trailing buy order. Obviously later on I'll talk to you about doing a trailing stop loss. So basically that means you can do it either way. Doesn't really matter. It works exactly the same way. So if we select trailing stop there, so I click on that little radio box there. Automatically, it's assuming you're doing it as a sell. What that is, okay. So I'll just go through it. So we got defaulted to a buy because it's blue. What am I thinking? All right, so we're going to go to trailing price. Okay, we've selected that. We're going off the type. So which price are we going off? We'll just go continue on last. There's no difference there. Okay, and what's the direction we want to go? We want to do price increasing. So the trailing price is going up, or it's decreasing. Okay, so this is where it can get a bit interesting because this is where your comparisons really get interesting here. So if you go for your last price, and we'll look at CBA here, okay? So the last price is $70.30. If we set this up last night and we did off the last price of say it was $70, and we did an increase of we can either set it as a price or basically amount of steps. We can say, okay, if it does more than 20 price steps, okay, so we're going here, then that would basically mean it would go in there and create the order to buy it at $70.20. Okay, so essentially a price step is every 1 cent with a stock like CBA. We can alternately change it to a percentage. Okay, so you can go, okay, I'll do it at, say, 5%, which is pretty big for someone like CBA because they're at $70. What's that, $3.50 or so? Don't quote me on that one, but it sounds about right. $3.50 approximately for that. So it would create a order if it hit $73.50. Alternatively, we could do it at a hard value. So we can do, okay, instead of it going as a price steps, we can do it as a value. So we can do offset of, say, 20 cents or so. Okay, so we'll just go to price steps. Actually, I'll leave it at percentage. I'm going to do it at 10%, so it's well and truly out of the market and never fill. Okay. Now, what I was talking about before in the orders was talking about expiries, and I was talking about the times when they actually trigger. So I can set any date on the expiry here. I can set it a couple of months in advance. We default it to 3 months because we think that's enough time. But I can always put it back to the 1st of May. Okay, I click off there. So now we see the expiry across here is the 1st of May. And I'm going to do a start time on here. I'll do midday, and I'm going to do it to 3 p.m. Okay, so I'm just changing it up for us. Okay, so now I'll go back through, and as I said, it's just a process. We follow these steps. So I'll go to here to go to a suspense. I'm going to do a buy order because obviously I don't hold any CBA at the moment. Okay, I'm going to buy 500 units. I'm going to do it as a limit order so I can set my price. So I'm going to do it, say, 77.20. Okay, so it's about 10%, so it's about $77. Okay, now obviously the status is open. Sorry, it's a good till cancel. I'm going to leave it as good till cancel because I don't think it's ever going to trigger that. Status is open because the market's open. Doesn't really matter. You can create these conditional orders after market. It just basically means if you put it in now and it triggers it, it's going to go through straight away. Okay, so I hit submit on that. And now we can have a look at the CBA order here. Okay, so we can see obviously the status is active. Oh, my times don't look right on there. So let's go through and fix that up. So I was just having a look at that. Status is active. The security is CBA. It's a trailing. So the last is equal to basically 100,000%, which isn't right. And the expiry date on there is the 1st of May, so which is what we sent. But obviously my time periods are wrong in here. So let's go through and modify that. So I'll just go to amend at the bottom here. Okay. So here's my problem. See the start time up here? It's gone to 12 a.m. I need to change that to 12 p.m. So if I can type, there we go. And I'll just amend that. So now I can show you a couple of things in here. So obviously that's a lot happier there. See the trailing last is a lot happier. Okay, our expiry looks same as before, but now I can see my start and my stop times are now more accurate. So it's going from midday to 3 p.m. Okay, you can see I created the order at about 11 past 10, but then at 12 past, I've gone back and modified it. Okay, so now I can have a look at my order. So if CBA, I want to buy some CBA, and I'm going to buy 500 at $77.20, and it's the expiry is validity is good till cancel. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to create a order with a fixed price and volume. So what we're going to look for in this instance is, okay, here it's a fixed price, but we're not, because we want to make sure that it's actually doing the right thing and it's got the correct amount of volume as well. So we want to make sure that it's not just a one-off transaction, that it's actually got a certain amount of volume to indicate that it's a bit of a trend. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to create. Okay. So it brings up our order pad here, and I'm going to put NAB. All right. So as I said before, this is going to be a process for us. So we're going to go to fixed price where it's defaulted to. Okay. It's going to go to the price is going to be, the type is going to be off the last price. Comparison is greater than. Okay. Now I'm going to set a fixed price of, I'm going to say $27 because I'm looking at here. It's around 24.62, 63. It's bouncing around that price. So I've got it priced well and truly out of the market. Now I'm going to jump across. You go fixed price, you go trail price, then you got volume on there. So I'm going to tick the volume box. And just like in your comparison of your fixed price, you got comparison. Do you want the volume to be greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to? And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put, say, 500,000. So I want the volume to be greater than 500,000 when it's hitting the price of $27. Okay? So that's my trigger. So when it hits that price, then it's going to trigger to create an order. Okay? Then all I have to do is go through. I select my account. I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy some NAB. I'm going to buy 1,000. And I'll buy them at 27.01. And obviously I'm doing it as a limit order. So I know I'm setting my price there hard. I'm going to set it for good till date. Okay. And let's do it for... Okay, we'll do the 7th of August. Let's make it funky, okay? Okay, then all I have to do is I just have a quick look at it and it all looks correct to me. And then I hit submit. Okay, so now we can go back in here and currently it's inactive. Actually, helps if I look at the right stock. So if I just jump back to that CBA there, I set the price on there to be midday to 3 p.m. Well, obviously, because it's not midday yet, then the order status is currently inactive. When it hits midday, it's going to become active like all the other conditional orders here. Okay, so that's something really important to see. So when you're looking at your conditional orders at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and you go, Ben, why isn't my orders active? Well, if your period is looking from 10 to 4 when the actual market's open, then that's when the actual conditional order will be active. If it's outside of those hours, obviously it's going to be inactive because there's no market and the actual prices aren't accurate. So that's just a good thing to know. So if we jump back to NAB, obviously the status is currently active and it's NAB, obviously. So we're based off a fixed price. So it's greater than or equal to $27, so 2,700. And we've got the volume there, which is 500,000. So it's greater than or equal to 500,000, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, the expiry is for 3 months' time. Okay, our start and stop time is 10 till 4, so all good there. And then we can see that it's created today, obviously, right now, and it hasn't been modified. And the actual order it's going to create is you're going to buy 1,000 NAB at 27.01, and it's good until the 7th of August. So that's one thing I also changed in there. Okay, so that's all good there. Now we can do, I'm going to replicate the same thing, except this time I'm going to do it as a trailing price and the volume. Okay, so this is just another instance of something we can actually build. Okay, so we go to create. Okay, let's do it off Westpac. Okay, then as I said, it's a process we're going through. So we go to select trailing price. Let's do it off the best bid. Okay, so we're going to look here. So it's not actually looking off what price is going through in the market, what it's actually getting bought or sold at. It's just what the best price people are willing to buy that. Okay, so we're going to do it we'll do it as a decreasing. Okay, see, obviously you see there, you see how in the order pad below it's implied that it's going to be a sell order. Okay, because obviously we're saying price goes up, that's a buy trigger. Price going down is a sell trigger. Okay, so we'll do it as a percentage. We'll do it as 2% below the best bid price. Okay. Okay, so that's all cool there. That's all fine. Actually, I'm going to do it off the best ask. I'll just make it as a bit simpler. Okay. So it's 2% off the best ask price. Okay. And that price is that. Then I'm going to also add my volume to it. Okay. So I'm going to select it that it's less than. Okay. Or equal to. And I'm going to make it 100,000. Yep, that's 100,000. That's enough zeros. All right. I'm going to make my validity from 2 p.m. I'll do it that way. And I'm going to make sure I select PM in there. Okay. And I'm going to make it to 4 p.m. Okay. Now I can go in here. And I can go do my suspense. So that's my account there that I'm going to trade with. And I'm going to sell some WBC. Okay, and obviously you've got markets, the ASX, and then like I said before, it's just a process. So I set my units, I'm going to limit my price, and I'm going to make it at, say, $26. Okay, so even though it's going to trigger at a price lower than the best ask, which is 2% off that, which is about $25.50, it's still got to create the order at a price that's not going to go into the market. So I'm just going to put it at $36. So to make myself really sure if this gets triggered. And obviously it's going to be good till cancel. Okay. So I'll submit that. Okay, and now we can see that WBC, that Westpac order in there. So we'll just go through the process again. The status is inactive. We've got our securities Westpac. It's a trailing, so it's going off the best ask price, and it's less than or equal to 2% under it. And we can't see it here. So I'm going to show you something else in the system that's pretty cool. So if you can't read some of it, bottom right corner here, we see something called events. So if I click on events, okay, we can actually see some of the system information here. So we can see created the order, and we can see that it's currently inactive. So what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to basically cancel this order, and then I'll see the events. I thought we could actually see the volume information in there, but obviously we can't. So it was a volume of 100,000, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what my memory says to me. The expiry is 3 months from today. So our start and stop time is 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that's why it says inactive currently in the status. It was created at 20 past 10, has been modified, and the order is to sell some WBC. So Westpac, 500 at $36, and the validity is good till cancel. So what I'm going to go through now is cancelling that order. So you see across the bottom here, whatever you selected here, when you hit cancel, it'll bring up the conditional order pad. Okay. Now all you have to do is you look at it and you go, yep, that's the order I want to cancel. Like I said, it's a process. So we're looking at the trailing price plus volume. Okay. And then all we have to do is hit cancel. And we see that Westpac there, that order there that we've created, has been cancelled. Okay. So obviously, if you can't see that, you go to the top right corner here and you see where it says all. Okay. Now we can have a look at it here. We've got active, inactive. That just filters it all for us. We've got disabled, triggered, and we got cancelled. So we can see our Westpac in there, and we can see expired. So if you've set an expiry of it being today, well, after you mark it at 4 o'clock, it's not going to display it there. Okay. So one thing I need to mention to you is when you go through and amending an order. So if I go through and amend this BHP, which I created yesterday, okay, I'm going to go through and amend that. Okay. Now, as I said before, it's all about a process and going through a checklist of steps. So if I go through here and I amend the price to say $46, okay, I know, because I've seen this before, I'm going to need error in here when I go to amend it. Okay, so I'm not touching any other part of the order. Okay, so price comparison is mandatory. So as I said, it's a process. So what we need to do is when we go to comparison here, you always have to select what you want to do. So every time you amend it, create or amend, you always have to tick greater than or less than. When I hit amend, now it's much happier. So it's amended the order, and now we see the trigger price is $46. Okay, it's greater than or less than. Obviously, if you really like that order and you want to do multiples of it, you got the clone function at the bottom, where you can just update that to $1 difference, and you submit that. Oh, see, I should know better. I didn't tick my comparison there, so it's just my process. So that's a good warning there. Okay, and submit. All right, exchange is mandatory. All right, I'm jumping a few steps here. I should know better, but that's a good warning there, and there you go. So now we got, I'll just sort that by alphabetical. So we got our $46 order there, and we also got our 4601 order there. Okay, so now it's just you can see it's just process. If you stuff up, you will get a warning in the system here to say what you've done wrong, so you can have a look at it, just like I did there with the comparison. I'm pretty confident you'll get the same warning as well, but that's just part of the deal. And that's probably a good thing that you're actually getting that. As I said, it's a process. follow your steps, and it'll work for you. So basically, that's what I want to show you in this video. There is a fair few things you can do. Obviously, you can create the conditional orders off your holdings. And I'm just going to show you that right now. So just give me a moment. All right, and I've just jumped into my test environment where I've got an account where I can set up a stop loss. So if I go up to accounts across the top here, then we go to equity holdings. Okay, so I've got my test account here. Okay, now if I want to set up a stop loss on a particular holding, because this is really important to you, so I'm going to set one up on ANZ. Okay, so obviously I go to ANZ, I right click with my mouse, and then you'll see stop loss. So I left click on that, and it brings up our order pad here. So like with the creation of the orders, we can do it off either a fixed price or a trailing price or a volume. So let's just go, okay, fixed price. So I'm going to have my last price, I'm going to do less than. Okay, and because it's the test market, I'm going to do it off 34. Okay, so this is our test market, so there's not as much trading going through it. So I'm just going to do it above the actual bid and ask price. Okay, so if it hits $34, then it's going to trigger to create a sell order. So I'm going to sell my ANZ, and obviously the market's not working there, but it's going to, I'm going to sell off, how many have I got here? 5,020. And that's not updating. So that would go off your limit order. You put your price of $39.99. Okay, your validity be good for day, and then you submit the order. Okay, so that will create your stop loss order in the system. Obviously, like all the other was, you can change it to a trailing price. So instead of it being the price increasing, obviously, well, you can do it increasing, you could do it decreasing. So you could do it both ways. So if you did it increasing, you can go, okay, if you're looking for basically a breakout, essentially. So you can do it as a, say, percentage. If it's opening, let's have a look at, say, maybe CBA, see if I've got any, nothing in there. Okay, so CBA is actually being traded today in our system. So let's have a look at it this way. So the last price, if it's increasing 5% over the last price, okay, which would be a fantastic day if you had some CBA, you'd be getting basically about a $4 price increase of the day. Then it would create a sell order. Yep, that should work. Actually, I'm just going to kill that one. I'm just going to try again off CBA. Okay, stop loss. Okay, and I'll do it 5% of that. So now you can see it's actually gone to the red for a sell order. Then I can sell my units at, I'll do 5,000 because I'm holding 51,000, which is quite a bit. And I can set my price at, say, $91. Okay. So obviously, like I said before, it's just a process where you can do it both ways. You can either do it for your price increasing. So if you think it's basically maxed out at a particular price, or it's done 5% one day, then fantastic. Let's sell out. Let's take our profit. Alternatively, you can use it to protect yourself. So you can do it as a price decreasing. Okay, and if it dropped by 5% one day, then it'll place the order into the market, and it'll sell it, say, around $83, we'll say, into the market. So that will create that order for you, basically protect yourself. Okay, so as I said before in the intro, the conditional orders are very powerful. They can do a lot of good things for you, and they can protect you in multiple ways. They can help you get into the stock without actually having to sit there and look at it all day long. if you know it's going to hit, if you want to hit particular trigger price as your entry, then this is going to be fantastic for you. Alternatively, it protects you on the downside and on the upside as well to an extent. So it'll give you opportunity to consolidate your losses. So if it's basically turned sour and the price is dropping dramatically, then there's a good opportunity to protect yourself. Alternatively, if you think it's done its run, then it'll give you the opportunity to take your profits and leave. So I'd like to thank you for watching this video about the conditional orders in the bourse. Obviously, if you have any questions, please give me a call. If you have any other questions, you can obviously email them to me. Send them through to support@boursedata.com.au. Obviously, there's going to be some more videos coming for you very soon. We've got something else to talk about that's important in the software. But as always, thank you very much for watching this video, and look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.